Have you ever felt like you're just drowning in self-improvement advice? I mean, you want to make a change. You really want to live more intentionally. But the sheer volume of information out there, it's just paralyzing. Well, today, we're going to cut through all that noise with a really clear 3-part framework to help you build a more focused life. So let's dive in.
You know, it's a feeling so many of us share. You decide, okay, today's the day, you go online, and bam, you're immediately hit with this tidal wave of tips, tricks, and life-altering systems. It's the classic paradox of choice, isn't it? The more options you have, the harder it is to actually pick one and get started. And this isn't just a feeling. There's a real cost to it. All this information overload leads to something called decision fatigue. When our energy is split between 1,000 different potential paths, we end up making very little meaningful progress on any of them. It's like we're spinning our wheels. And that's exactly why we need a much more focused approach. Okay, so to build that solid foundation, we have to start with our why. I mean, before we can even think about acting, we need a philosophy, a personal filter that helps us cut through the noise and figure out what actually matters to us. A really great starting point is minimalism. Now, it's not about owning nothing, not at all. Think of it more like a tool, a powerful one for intentionally removing the excess. You know, the clutter, the obligations, the distractions, all the stuff that stands in the way of what you truly value.
And building right on top of that is this idea of essentialism. So if minimalism is about clearing away the non-essential junk, essentialism is the next step. It's the proactive, disciplined pursuit of only the essential. It's all about making fewer but way, way better choices.
So how do we figure out what is essential? Well, we can look to this incredible Japanese concept called ikigai. It's your reason for being. It's that force that gets you out of bed in the morning, excited for the day. It's really the ultimate why.
And just look at this. This visualizes the impact perfectly. On the left, you see what happens to most of us, right? Our energy is scattered, leading to these tiny little bits of progress in every direction. But on the right, that's the essentialist. The same amount of energy, when it's focused, creates significant, meaningful progress in one clear direction. It just brilliantly shows the power of having a clear why.
So how do we find that direction for ourselves? Well, the popular Western take on Ikigai gives us a kind of map. It suggests our purpose, our sweet spot, lies right at the intersection of these 4 powerful questions. The goal is to find where your passion, your skills, what the world actually needs, and what you can get paid for all overlap. Okay, so a strong why gives us direction. That's huge. But how do we actually start moving? This next part is all about the how. The practical, science-backed systems for turning all that good intention into real, actual action. Let's start by busting a huge myth. I'm sure you've all heard this one, right? Just stick with it for 21 days and it'll become a habit. It's a nice, simple number, but what does the real science have to say about it? Yeah, the answer is a bit more complex and honestly a lot more realistic. A big 2020 review of all the research found that the median time, so the middle ground, for a new behavior to become automatic is actually 66 days. That's more than double the old myth. The big takeaway here is don't give up at that 3-week mark. You're likely just getting started. And get this, that 66 days is just the median. The actual time can be all over the place, depending on a few key things. I mean, a simple habit like drinking a glass of water every morning, that's going to become automatic way faster than a complex one like learning a new instrument. And look at consistency. Daily practice is over twice as effective. See, it's not about willpower, it's about designing a smarter system for yourself. And the most effective way to design that system is to understand the habit loop. Every single habit you have, good or bad, follows these 4 steps. Your phone buzzing, that's the cue. The desire to see what's new, that's the craving. Picking up the phone and scrolling, that's the response. And the little dopamine hit of new information, that's your reward. So to build a new habit, you've got to consciously engineer all 4 of these parts. So we've got our why and our how. But to make it all stick, we have to understand the fundamental operating system we're working with here, our own brain. This last part gets into the physics of why focus is so incredibly essential. All right, this is the core principle that underpins everything else. Your brain isn't just some abstract thinking machine, it's a physical system, and it follows the laws of thermodynamics. And you know what its #1 directive is? Use as little energy as possible. It's fundamentally lazy, and that's actually a good. I want you to picture this. Imagine a single molecule just bouncing around randomly inside a big box. It's a state of high energy, total uncertainty. Well, that's basically your brain when it's faced with too many choices or trying to learn some new, unfamiliar behavior. It's chaotic. Now, to push that molecule into a smaller, more defined space, well, you have to apply external work, right? It takes energy. But once it's confined, it enters this stable, low-energy state. This is a perfect analogy for what happens when we make a decision or form a habit. We are literally doing work against our brain's natural tendency to just stay put. And this all connects to a fascinating concept called bounded rationality. Because our cognitive energy is finite, our brains have evolved to take shortcuts. We don't try to find the absolute perfect choice. We just look for one that's good enough. And what's the ultimate energy-saving shortcut? A habit. It's a pre-made decision that just runs on autopilot, saving all that precious energy. Okay, so let's zoom out and put all the pieces together. How did these three layers, the why, the how, and our physical limits, combine into one powerful, intentional framework? First, you start at the top. You use these big picture philosophies like minimalism, essentialism, and ikigai to define what truly matters to you. This gives you a clear direction, a compass. Second, you have to translate that why into real action. You build your how using a realistic understanding of how habits actually form, respecting that 66-day average and engineering that 4-step habit loop. And finally, and this is maybe the most important part, you understand the fundamental constraints you're working with. You respect your limits. Knowing about bounded rationality and your brain's deep need to conserve energy explains why a clear why and a structured how aren't just helpful, they're absolutely necessary. You know, in the end, this is a deeply personal journey. I love this quote because it really says it all. Every choice you make moves you in one direction or another. This framework isn't a rigid rulebook. It's a set of tools to help you make more of the choices that are truly right for you. So let's bring it right back to you. I want you to forget the 1,000 things you could do. Knowing that your energy is finite, that it's precious, what is the single, most essential thing you will choose to focus your energy on next?